pressing it and then I'm like, no,
it's a little random.
I have adapted myself here today to dull a chronicle. I've been finding myself sleepwalking more and more often these days, and I've found that if I tell stories of the places that I end up and the people that I meet, it's often coming as both a comfort to myself and others. I hope the mead in your cups is still well frothed, because this tale is long and wide. My name is Theodora. I come from a small village east of Great Horn County, and don't even bother going about there sniffing and asking my name in the taverns, because they will turn you away without a hitch right in your own shoes. I acted as the live-in stable master for thee, Lady Godiva, Anglo-Saxon noblewoman for 130 years. I met Godiva in a small automobile collision that occurred on North I-95, really not too far from here. And there she was suddenly, I could see her purple irises and translucent long hair clearly from where I sat. She was but inches from my face, and my car was completely inside of hers. There was puddles of gasoline piled up underneath the smoke of our seats, and when we saw that, we skidded out of course. You see, Godiva had been finding herself many a night having arguments over the purple fur and curry with husband. Well-endowed and employed husband was part of the union council at the time, you see. And she pleaded with him for the crippling taxation clauses that were thrust upon Trundleville at the time were discouraging to herself. She tried to bargain with him, but the company just recently purchased some fancy vehicles that he did not discover. So, Godiva came to me one evening in my stalls where I was milking the mares, and she came to me while I had lactation ribbon up to my elbows, and there was a smell of milk curd in the air, and Godiva came to me, and she pleaded with me, and our husband, I am not husband. She said, Theodora, please, I need you to round up the finest mare and tie her lead to the skillet out front. I need you to rub her down well with grapefruit rinds and coyote micturation, your normal routine. I need you both to feel powerful for on the morrow evening to ride this mare into the heart of Trundleville. And this ought to shimmy the council's boots when we arrive, displaying our full set of medallions to the public, in the nude, of course. And if the council's boots aren't shimmied by my advantageous appearance, they ought to be shimmied by your atypical complexion. And so we did this. Tomorrow that eve, we did ride this very mare into the heart of Trundleville. And while we ran, I could feel myself bouncing in front of Godiva, her in the back. There was a very thick trail of sweat that had left her armpit, and I felt it enter my lap. And after having entered my lap, it left again and spiraled down the waxen pearlescent leg of this mare. So we got there to Trundleville, and I think the boots were shimmy. The Peter Tom sleeves, of course. And the noblemen told their first of kin to avert their gaze from the blinds. And when we returned to the abode that evening, husband was very displeased, of course, as you can imagine. He was funneling dark liquids down his throat like a fog-eyed duck. And he stomped his fancy new digits. And he said he'll take a sickle to my cicada collection if his employer were to find him with the debacle. And I'm sure he did. And he told me there would be no tax reform. And he ripped the refrigerator door off the hinges and threw it into the backyard. And he took a rake to the clotheslines, and then we all went to bed, of course, because every night has to end. I told Godiva to sleep in the mews on that crecusole, for I awoke that evening with full intent and purpose from my slumber. And I brought myself my Theodora, the barn upon which Godiva slept, and I hastily began to gather indented hay into my tunic, which I had fashioned into a basket by smartly bringing the bottom of the hem up to my navel. And after having done this, I brought myself back into the establishment of husbands. And I stepped into my tallest pair of rubbers, and I began to shove fistfuls of this pasturage deep within every conduit and every drain pipe of husband's home. And after having done this, I pumped every well, and I squeaked every spigot, flushed every bidet, and I slammed the door very behind me at my ankles, the front door, with the contents of the drains of husband's abode biting closely behind my ankles. I watched from the outside and saw the black water spilling out, pouring underneath of the door frames, and it was sloshing against the walls, and then started to lift the furniture and all the contents of the house. And a huge wave came right out the window and brought the contents of this whole house right out with it. The sleeping husband still included. And they went down the street and into the horizon that disappeared into the distance. His husband and the items of his house right gone on a surfboard of his own raw sewage. And I returned to the dive on that evening in our bed amongst the hay. And, well, after that, we rode into Trundleville many, many more times. Every day, I presume, in the same fashion. And I do think we'll ride again tomorrow. And I do think to myself often that someday I should really get Godiva in her own fancy pair of digits. It was a very nice visit in Dogville. I have to return to Trundleville now. But it was fancy sleep lots of little guys. Okay, goodbye. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.